Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on air, and I just want to thank Market Street Shoes continuing to support our Mother's Justice Show. We really appreciate you. And I want to just go straight to Mr. Rye right now. Thank you, Mr. Rye, for coming on. I know that today is a tough day for you, but we appreciate you. We're going to give you all the grace we need. So, how you doing, Mr. Rye?
Well, with a heavy heart, I'm hanging in here, but life has to go on, and you're referring to my brother Jerry Rye that was found dead on Saturday afternoon, 4 blocks from Valley Medical Center, and we got some shocking news we pretty much suspected from the coroner's office, the medical examiner's office today, that his death was due to blunt force trauma. So there was some problems with the brain and stuff like that. So he probably collapsed to where they found him in a gated community 4 blocks from the hospital. So, after 17 days, we kind of anticipated that with all the major effort was made by a lot of people. I owe a lot of people a lot of gratitude for the efforts they made to locate him. We were hoping that we would find him alive. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So now Angela T. Rye and his sons and my nieces and nephews, they've done a magnificent job. It's really taken a burden off of the older members of the family, but they've just been tenacious. And so I think that in a very few days, folks are going to probably hear some pretty shocking news. I don't want to be presumptuous and put anything out there that I can't back up, but things are not looking good for the treatment of an elderly Black man who didn't have any money at the time, and it was given a bus pass and a handshake, and that was the results of it. So I'm sure when all the pieces come together, we've received support from City Council Member Ed Prince and City Council Member Kim Von Kahn. I think that's how you pronounce her name. They've been very helpful. So we'll see exactly what will happen. But on that note, everything else in the world seems like it's going upside down.
Right.
Folks going to fight in Ukraine, and I'm glad that folks are fighting for themselves. And I know that a lot of African American men and women in the military have been put on alert. But I hope the men and women in the military alert them that if we can't vote, we can't fight. So you got to draw a line in the sand.
That's right.
I love to see democracies flourish around the world, but the democracy got to begin at home. And if you don't have a right to vote, then you're missing. You can't call it democracy anymore. You have to call it something else.
Well, yeah, it's a strange events that's going on, and I guess it's been trouble in that for a long time. I mean, one thing about the West, they forget that the other people in the world got long memories. Putin been waiting for this ever since Reagan was said, Gorbachev tear down that wall, and they broke up the USSR and all of these satellites that they had claimed that wanted to be free, tried to jump ship. Yeah. And he's been waiting.
Well, now we need a president to say, tear down that wall that's blocking Black folks' rights to vote.
That's right. But you got the other side of the people in America championing Putin. So that means that they would much rather live under oligarch. What my son said on the show this day, that the far right, the GOP would rather support Putin than to have equality for all people in America.
That's what
O.Y. said. O.Y. Salisbury said today is that, and that really is the truth, because see, the first Civil War was over us, and the second Civil War is over us. Now everybody else is the add-on. They talk about people of color and all of that. That's great, but it's over us, and they would much rather join forces with the Russians than to let us vote. Now that's a sad commentary on hatred and racism, isn't it?
Well, a lot of people follow Donald Trump, and as I suggested before, all the people who wanted to fight at January 6th of last year, they need to be the first ones in line to go to the Ukraine and fight the Russians. But I guess they're the Russians' buddies.
No, so they're the Russian buddies.
They might be fighting with the Russians against the Ukrainians. You're right. You're right.
That's right.
Because you got Donald Trump, the former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, hailing I was talking about how smart Putin is and hailing him. And I think Donald Trump is trying to like him on them $400 million he needs to pay that bill next year.
Well, yeah, but really, I mean, Donald Trump is the best agent that Russia could have. I mean, really and truly. I mean, because he proved in 4 years that you could bring down the so-called democracy. Now, they've been working on this other plan here for 80 years after World War II. It's been 80 years since they rounded up our Japanese brothers and sisters, put them in a concentration camp. And then, you know, the war ended in what, 45? I mean, because I was born in 46. So the guys came home from 45 and made lots of babies in 46. So I'm one of those 46 babies. So anyway, I mean, so they've been working on this. They even had a Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe. Marshall Plan, Germany, all those countries got rebuilt because of Americans' dollars and the Marshall Plan. And then after that, they went into South Korea. You know, they went into Korea for another conflict, but I didn't know too much about it because I was just getting to the planet. But so this is where we are. We're back to the same fundamental question about freedom for the Negro.
There's no question about it. There's no question about it. And what's happening right now in state legislatures across the country tell you that folks are going to carve up districts and make sure that certain people don't have a right to vote, and even setting up commissions where they can reject a legitimate vote. And so,
but see, they said around the world democracies are losing because it's too much work. People are not willing to put in the work for collaboration, consideration, and cooperation. They much rather have somebody to tell them what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. I mean, and that's what they want. They want a dictatorship. They really don't like this free flow of information. They want to restrict information, want to make sure that only some people get information. And so it really is going back to the old ways when back to the 1800s, to the early 1900s is what they want. They want to live in the past. As one of my sons said, Mom, they want to live in a world without penicillin.
Yeah, that's a very good description. A very good description.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just hoping that that they claim that the United States is not going to get involved with ground troops, but I think, if they're in Poland and surrounding areas, I think there's going to be something that's going to cause another conflict, and I just hate to say it, but I see that happening. I just really do see it happening. And like I said, sad commentary.
It's going to affect the European people more closely than it is right now. So, I mean, they need to be on alert. I mean, really, if Europe wants to fight for democracy, I know Germany is taking a stance. I mean, but where are all the other countries? I mean, because we liberated those countries. Now, who's going to come and liberate us? I mean, if the European Union falls and Russia runs the world, who's going to liberate us?
Well, in the first place, we got to be liberated in our own country first.
Well, I mean, but if this stuff go bad over here, we might need some liberation too. I mean, just like
there you go.
Germany. Now they had to go into Germany. I mean, the Blitz. I mean, you know, your father knew about the Blitz and all of that stuff. I mean, they went into Europe. I mean, the Americans liberated Europe.
Oh yeah, no question. My uncle, that was now deceased, was a World War II veteran. He talked about how black, and it was segregated army. They had black platoons and companies of black folks driving the tanks, and they liberated a lot of the concentration camps, free Jews from the concentration camps.
That's right.
And those were black soldiers, colored soldiers they called them at the time, and they had to come right back to segregation when the war was over.
They came back to segregation, but I tell you, the Red Tails, Tuskegee Airmen, they have won the war.
That's right.
I mean, we might not have won the war at home, but our ancestors absolutely won the war of freedom for the for Western Europe.
Yeah, and it was. I remember my first cousin, who was much older. He was much older than me, Foster Anderson. He joined the army. He signed when he was 16 years old, and he was on the horses, like I'm trying to figure out, I think it was in Italy or somewhere. And he was he was riding a horse in World War II, and his parents let him go. He was 16, but we had a lot of relatives on both sides of my family that died in all the wars, which makes me so upset when I hear people like Senator Ted Cruz talking about Black folks and patriotism, and his family he might not have been born here either.
That's right. That's right. He wasn't even in the country. He wasn't in the country because we have fought in every war for our own liberation, beginning with the Civil War. And we have fought in every other war, even the war out here with, they sent the Buffalo Soldiers west to, and that's why sometimes we get in good heated conversation with our native brothers and sisters, because the Buffalo Soldiers came west to help win the West. I mean, to so-called settle the West. So every conflict in America, we, the African people, the descendants of the stolen ones, as you call it, we've been in every battle,
Yeah. Well, like I told my Native American brothers and sisters when the Buffalo Soldiers come up, I'm saying, it was either that or be on the plantation. If you were a Buffalo Soldier, you still were on a plantation. Even during World War II, with all Black companies, they had white officers leading them. Right. So, I mean, it wasn't nothing that they desired to do, or something they were forced to do. And so that's a big difference than somebody just going around just, creating mayhem. But when you're on the plantation, you're on the plantation. And at that time, you could see all the way up until the Korean War, they finally started desegregating some of the troops. And my uncle told me that during the Korean War, some of the white soldiers said, "We don't care what Truman said, we're not going to be serving with no N-words." And here they are having a common enemy, and their worst enemy was between the feelings of some of those white troops. So,
see what you just said, that's the same thing that's going on right now. They would rather be with the Russians than to be with the Negro. I mean, so it's the same energy. It has not changed here. And how many years ago was that? I mean, World War II here, they ended in 1945, and the still attitude that is something so abhorrent and horrible about being next to the Negro. They would be next to the Russians. But I think what they miss, these people who actually want to do this, don't understand that the Russian people are considered to be Slavics. And in order to be a Slavic, that means you have to have Black blood in you. That was the distinction between the Iron Curtain, East Germany, the East and the West, is that they were Slavics. And all the people that were Slavics were supposed to have come because from the Black blood that came there during the 800 years that the Moors ruled Europe, see? Yeah, so as Bobby Lamons used to say, you know your history, you know your greatness.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, well, I'm not going to keep you, Mr. Rye. I know that you have other things to do. I just wanted to, for you to come on, and I'm not looking for any update. I just wanted to, my mother, Justice Show, wanted to offer you our deepest condolence, and any way that we can be helpful, we will be helpful in any way we can. So you'll be hearing from us as a group, and be in touch with you.
We'll do it. As soon as we hear something, I'll make sure you know about it, Reverend Mary. Appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And give your family my condolence.
Will do. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, and we'll be right back.
Market Street Shoes is happy to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in honor of our mother, Jackie Higgins Rosebrook, who spent her life fighting for social justice, and also in honor of all mothers who fight for social justice. Market Street Shoes, fashionable footwear and apparel for life's everyday adventures, in the heart of Ballard since 2006. Visit marketstreetshoes.com.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. And it's a nice rainy day in Seattle. I don't know if you like rain, but sometimes I do. And it's been raining here for a few days. When I grew up in Florida, my grandmother would say, "Oh my God, throw that mermaid back in the water. It's raining," so the rain would stop. So, I guess I'd say that today. Throw the mermaid back in the water so the rain can stop. But I just put a lot of snow in the mountains. And what happens in the Pacific Northwest, for people who might be listening from another part of the country, What happens in the Pacific Northwest when it starts raining sometime, the temperature will rise. And then that means that the snow level moves up higher. I think Mount Rainier is 14,000 feet high. So if the snow level moves up below, above the 3,000 feet range up to 5,000, then the snow is going to melt. It has to go somewhere, and water, put too much water in the pot, it's going to overflow. So that's what's going to happen. It happens all the time here. I mean, in the Pacific Northwest, it happens quite often that the snow would come, then the warmer rains will come, bring more snow, but then the snow level rises up higher. And then we'll have rivers that are flooding. And so that's probably what's going to happen here soon. You used to get flooding sometime in December, and then sometime again in almost springtime. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we don't make the weather. I mean, sometimes I guess man can make the weather, but we didn't make this particular weather with the system. So again, you listen to the Mother's Justice Show, and I'm waiting for my guests to see if we got a guest to come on. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about that song, We Shall Not Be Moved. We should not be moved. I mean, that means something to me. It's part of the Black experience. It means something to me to know that we have been fighting in the system for a lifetime. I mean, we are born into the system, and we fight for it, and we fight through it until we die. And so that song is really important because right now you have some people saying they would rather help Russia than to give equality to have diversity. And they saying that openly. I mean, on the Morning Updates Day show on Converge Media, what they said today, they showed a clip of some gathering in Florida, my home state. Florida breeds these people. Boy, I don't know what's wrong with the water in Florida. It probably comes from the Everglades. Down there with the alligators. Oh, Eric, have you ever seen a real alligator?
Not in person. Thankfully.
I've seen a real alligators in person. Okay, so they must be drinking the water from the alligators. And somewhere they're saying now that young white men are losing their rights, and they don't want diversity and whatever. So anyway, America's at a crossroads here. Looks like it's like playing the same crosswords that Lincoln talked about. I mean, this great divide in America. And so I guess it's back around. I'm not an astrologer, but we have a great show on this network called Jupiter Rising with Eileen Grimes. And I know she was on talking about Pluto. And I guess Pluto comes every 204. I mean, it's 240 years. It makes its whole cycle or whatever it is. And now it's back, and it's at the same time now in the same place it was before we had the Civil War, or right after the Civil War. So the signing of the Constitution, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this cycle as the world is turned upside down. But we shall not be moved. We like that tree planted by the side of the river, and we shall not be moved. That's what I believe. That's what I'd say. And we're going to just keep on marching on for freedom, because everybody was born to be free. I don't know anybody that was born to be in bondage, whether it's the over in Ukraine, whether it's all the other, whether it's the Tibetan people, I mean, whether it's the African people. I mean, when Genghis Khan was around, do you know anything about Genghis Khan?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit.
Well, I mean, he would be considered a dictator today, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah. He was a conqueror, is what they call him, basically. Yeah.
Well, you gotta raise the energy on that. You say he was a conqueror, yes. In his time, because they didn't have instant media in those days.
Right.
There was no CNN. I often wondered what would happen if we had multimedia around in those days. So yeah, when he was going around building his kingdom, building all of his wealth and stuff, and pillaging and killing people. So the world has known plenty of these people, but on the end, peace always comes in between. So I'm going to be one of those peacemakers. And believe that peace is possible. I don't care what I'm looking at in my face, in front of my face. I know that there's something behind that, and there's people who want to be free. And peace is always showing its head. There's always good people, and who knows that? One of my friends said that believe they could stop some of the violence around the world if we just had a cook-off with chicken. Like they had the best. Who made the best chicken? Everybody eats chicken except for the vegetarians and the vegans, but most of the world are not vegetarians or vegans. So if everybody had a good chicken recipe and bought that chicken recipe, I think that's one way to heal the world is through food and through culture and stuff like that. So we're going to take another break here, see if I can get hold of my guests. And, the show goes on and we've got another break. This is the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Wald. It's my joy to be on air. We'll be right back.
Market Street Shoes is happy to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in honor of our mother, Jackie Higgins Rosebrook, who spent her life fighting for social justice, and also in honor of all mothers who fight for social justice. Market Street Shoes, fashionable footwear and apparel for life's everyday adventures, in the heart of Ballard since 2006. Visit marketstreetshoes.com.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. Love that song. I love that song. It's about holding on, and we've been the people who've been holding on. I want to bring in my next guest. So thank you, Eric, for playing that lovely music for us. I want to bring in my next guest. He was on, not too long ago, Miss Felicia Cross. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, we're going to continue to talk about Black history because we know it's every day. We're making some history every day. So anyway, although if February is ending, our year's just beginning because we still got a whole nother year to go around to get back to February. So we can continue the history. So the last time you were on, you had made a great discovery. And I said that we'll have you back on and you discovered about all the parks. And so we're going to have a conversation about Seattle. And all the parks in Seattle is named for African Americans, great people. And so, so let's so I just turned it over for you so you can educate us. I know some of them, but I don't know all of them. And, and our listeners would love to know all of them.
Yes. It's been really interesting to learn about these parks. There's 11 parks named after our African American community members here in the central area. I had no idea. I knew some of the parks, just like you said, but I discovered lots of great history right here in our community, which makes me value our community even more. So I'll name off the parks in just a blurb about each one. Alvin Larkins Park is on 34th, 34th in Madison Valley, and he was a musician and a teacher, very beloved in the community. They named the park after him. And then
what was his name again? Because I'm not familiar with the name. So tell me the name again.
Alvin Larkin Park.
Okay.
Name park. And then Blanche Levizo. I know a lot of us know who Dr. Blanche was. She was the first pediatrician, the first African-American pediatrician for Odessa Brown. She came actually here from Atlanta, and her and her husband were both pediatricians in Atlanta, and they came up and opened up Odessa Brown, the first medical director, first Black pediatrician. And she was also a classmate of Martin Luther King. So that was an interesting tidbit for her too.
And then if we raise our children in the central area, which we did, I did, I think you might have did too. They all went to Odessa Brown. They gave really world-class medical care to African Americans. At that time, it was only African Americans. When my kids, they had a dental clinic in there also. So yeah, Odessa Brown. Good afternoon. Listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. Seattle, Washington, and we're letting our light shine today. We've had situations. We've had a lot going on. That's how life is. But the measure of life is how you let your light shine. So we're letting our light shine. We're back on here with my guest, the lovely Felicia Cross. She's born and raised. She's a Seattleite, and She's going to walk us through the parks of Seattle, and then we'll have some conversation about some of these people. Oh yeah, right. We were on Dr. Levizo and Odessa Brown.
Odessa Brown. I mean, that's the hub. And Dr. Ben Danielson was worked out of Odessa Brown, and he was honored every day to walk in the shoes of Dr. Levizo. So he was very honored by that. So it was very heartbreaking for him to not be there.
And we're going to stand behind him. We'll come back and have some conversation too about some of these people, some of these places, parks. Once you go through the list.
Yes. So the next one on my list is the Flo Ware Park. And that's right there on the corner of 28th and Jackson. And, it's a little tiny park, but this lady was mightyful in the community. She was an advocate for children, elderly, and poor and the disadvantaged. She, was a foster parent and just very, very vocal for the community. And so they named that park after her. I mean, to her, probably she was no big deal, but to the community, she was everything because she was doing the work out here.
And got some information about that park when we come back for the discussion.
Okay. And then 24th and Howell is the Homer Harris Park.
Oh yeah, I know about that one too. Yes, Tell us about Homer Harris.
Homer Harris, he was a beloved athlete. It says he was a dermatologist, but he was a football legend around here, and they describe him as being just a very, very handsome man. So that was good to get a little bit of background about him, because I didn't, I know these parks, but didn't know what these people represented. All of
right.
them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, other than that, I have Judge Charles Stokes.
Okay.
Yeah, 20th and Judkins over here.
Wow, I didn't know that.
20th and Judkins, and he was the first legislator for King County Council. And
okay.
He was appointed judge in 1968 in the first Black person in King County District Court.
Oh wow!
You have something?
Yeah, it is. Wow. By 1968, I was not in this state. I was just 3 years. I was 3 years out of high school. Yeah.
Okay. And then we have the Powell Barnett Park, which,
Oh, yes.
Martin Luther King there. And Powell Barnett, Powell Barnett, he was a really big advocate in the Leshai community and all with the Leshai improvements and things like that. And he actually came from a miner. His family were miners in the Roslyn, Washington area.
Oh, really? Okay. That's interesting. So that means they came at the turn of the century.
Absolutely.
Because there came to be strike breakers over in Roslyn because there was a strike going up. The Cravens came here that way too.
Yeah, I know the Cravens.
The Cravens family came by that way, and I don't know if Mr. and Mrs. Craven came together or they got married once they got here, but they had a big family with them Cravens.
Yes. They always were in the parade.
Always in the parade. That's right.
Yeah,
always in the parade. In the Mardi Gras parade. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just rich to me, rich history. But he actually was one of the founders of the Central Area Motivation Program, the camp.
Okay, of camp. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the founders. So just a lot of great work here. Let's see somebody else here. Prentice Frazier Park, which is 24th East. And they talk about him as a former slave that came to Seattle in 1916 and started and published a newspaper for the Black community. It was called the Seattle Enterprise.
The Seattle what?
Seattle Enterprise.
Okay, and his last name was Frazier?
Uh-huh.
Right, wow.
401 24th East.
Wow.
And then the Sam Smith Park, which overlooks I-90 on 14 Martin Luther King. And we probably know more about Sam Smith than we do any of these parks. Basically, Sam Smith was a total fixture in the community. Everybody knew Sam Smith. Everybody. He lived right there on Seward Park, and he was just very, very he was this city council, as we know, he's city council for 5 terms.
Yeah, he's the
5 terms.
the first elected black one.
For
And
5
he was
terms.
elected citywide because that's all we had then. And he
Yep.
was elected before I came to Seattle, I believe, but because I came in '75. And they said that he always would say, "How you doing, neighbor?" So he never knew that a stranger. "How you doing, neighbor?" And he answered his phone, "How you doing, neighbor?" We can use a little of that. We can use a little of that in the world right now. "How you doing, neighbor?"
Right, just like the song said, "Let's let our light shine."
Right.
Sam Smith was really, he was just that type of person. I remember him as a small child and just can still vividly remember his warmth when when he was president, the warmth.
Right.
Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd have to think about the consciousness of Seattle at that time to elect the first black one citywide, not in districts like we have today. And then what he did for the whole city. I mean, he improved public safety for the whole city.
Yes, we will maybe for further discussion we talk about the East Precinct.
Yeah. So why don't we just take a minute right now and talk about East Precinct, because that's how I came to know more about it when they were talking about giving away East Precinct either for Black Lives Matter or either for Sawant went to make it a community center. Hey, and then Lil Bird gave me information. Now we don't call Lil Bird's name, but Sam Smith said before Sam Smith was elected, you had no police services in this community. Some people said they called the ambulance first because the fire engine would get here quicker than the police. I wasn't here, so I'm speaking what was reported to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and geographically, because that precinct was not there before, the Red Line Central District didn't have any police, security, because they either had to come from North Seattle or from South End. Those precincts were there, West Seattle, but we didn't have a precinct to cater to our Black community, and Sam Smith made that happen, where we didn't have to wait for that response time from downtown or from other places that would take a lot longer to reach us.
Well, that meant that Capitol Hill, Mont Lake, going down toward the cut. I mean, that meant like the whole sector didn't have any service then.
That's right.
Because this sector goes from north from I-5 south of what is that, south of I-5 all the way to McCullen or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then it goes down by the lake and up to some of the international district and all of Capitol Hill. Yep. All of Capitol Hill is in the sector. Yep, so that's right. So he made a great improvement for not only for us but for the other people who live in this sector.
So when the CHOP was going on, it was heartbreaking for those of us who grew up in this community and knew and was aware of the work and the dedication he had to the betterment of our community. To take over that precinct would just be devastating.
Yeah, and to give it away and then even having people to vacate it and all of that. Because one thing that we've learned this summer, the last 2 summers, is everybody who say Black Lives Matter, they don't mean that. They mean something else, and they mean that they co-opted for their own opportunity, but it has nothing to do with us at the end of the day, because nobody cares about our personal safety. At the end of the day, nobody cares about our personal safety, but Sam Smith did. So then we're going to look up his birthday, because I think we should do something. I think we should have a Sam Smith Day, and I mentioned that to the previous mayor, but I have not talked to the new mayor, but either community people can do it. It doesn't mean we can do a Sam Smith Day. Why not?
Why not?
Why not us?
This is, that's when the community was really a community. And I think that's a great idea. His birthday
let's bring back, how you doing, neighbor?
Right.
Yeah, let's have a how you doing, neighbor day and support Sam Smith.
July 23rd.
Oh, July 23rd. Oh my goodness. Okay. So he was a Leo. No wonder he was all out front.
Go get it.
Yeah, no wonder he was all out there with that personality. How you doing, neighbor? Hey, that Leo was on Front Street. That's interesting. All right, what's the next one?
The next one is Walt Hundley, Hundley, and he's one I had never heard of, but
Yep.
he he was the first director for the Parks Department.
Yes, I remember him. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And first African American superintendent for the Parks and Rec. And so they have this park. It's over in West Seattle on 34th Southwest.
34th Southwest. Okay.
Yeah.
He also was a big time cat. I think he was a big time member of Immaculate Catholic Church.
Oh, okay. He was graduate of Yale. He went to Yale.
Mm-hmm.
And so they named that park after him because he was instrumental in the High Point area and making it a better community over in the High Point area. So
wow.
And he also worked in the civil rights with the Central Area Motivation Project, same thing. So he did a lot of things too in this community, which was instrumental.
Right.
So the last one on my list of 11 is the William Grossi Park, and I didn't even know.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know there was a park named after him. As we know, he is instrumental for this whole Black community, actually, from the 1800s. Right. He arrived in 1861.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the park is on 30th and Howell.
30th and Howell. Yeah, we could lead our little tour. We get our little we get our Black Parks tour bus going.
Oh, I would love
with Keith, one of my guys one of my sons who have transportation. We could do us a little thing in the summer. Come and go see the parks.
Yep, because
hey, we could do that. So hey, this is excellent.
Very good.
Very good.
He opened up a restaurant in a hotel down on Yesler called Our House in 1882. So back in those days, this man was doing some things, and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying he got 12 acres along Madison, and the rest is history.
Also, he was a friend of Henry Yesler.
Okay.
They were friends. According to the story, and I think Mrs. Tolliver with the Black Heritage Society, with the history, my recollection is that old man Yesler had lost his watch, and Mr. Gross found it and gave it back to him, and they became fast friends. And so he offered to sell him this parcel of land, and he bought it. Because, in Oregon, Blacks could not buy property because he'd been in Oregon and he came on over here. So
in the 1800s.
Yeah, right. Lots of pioneer spirits, that came west looking for a better life. A lot of folks did.
Yeah, but to think about it, was a Black man who owned the whole central area here, and that we were redlined here. But the history in these parks, there's just so much. There's so much to be prideful for.
Well, and it's not all gone yet. Some of the property might be gone, but one thing about it is you could never erase the pulse of the people. That's why when you go to certain places, if you ever fly into Norfolk, Virginia, and you're driving from Norfolk to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and you're going through the Dismal Swamp, well, the slaves, they were the ones who dug up that swamp and made that. You can feel still the energy. Energy is forever. They might think we're gone, but the energy is always here. That's not gone anywhere. Energy is forever, ever and ever. And so more and more people are coming back and that kinds of stuff. So we have to move on what we have now. Homer Harris Park is on the place where I used to live at, right behind the Y on 24th Avenue was a house there. I lived in that house. That house is no longer there. That house now, that house, I was living in that house in 1980, I think from 81, maybe 81 to 83 or 82 or something like that. And I moved out of there. But it was right behind East Madison Y. And Homer Harris also, he was denied. He couldn't get into the University of Washington. He was one of these schools he couldn't get into. And he played football someplace else, but not for the UW, I don't believe. I think he played for Nebraska or someplace else. So, but he was supposed to be a good football player. And again, we all know about Barnett Park. I mean, we know that's what's happening Park.
Right.
And even though people think that we're not here anymore, people will drive from Federal Way to come to bring the kids to the park where they grew up at. Okay.
Absolutely.
And so people think, and you go down there on a summer day.
Oh,
I don't care how many folks have bought the house around there. And we didn't talk about Juckin Park, but we stuck out. We are absolutely making sure that they're not taking Juckin Park for a dog park, because our kids play out there. The CD Panthers and all of that. We have to make sure we keep our eye on these parks.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware of the Judge Charles Stokes Park. That's new to me. I didn't know about that one at all. But I knew about Homer Harris, and I knew about, of course, Barnett. We've been in that park so many times for a picnic.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yes, we have it.
I'm sorry. I would love to see one of those historical site posters up, what they put up in other cities I've seen, like in Tennessee and in Nashville and everything, but the historical sites and some information. This information right here, all we got
to do is get a proposal and go to the Parks Department and go to the city and see, can't we do it? Yes. Why not? Why not us?
Why not us? Why not us?
Why not? That's what Russell Wilson says. His dad, Russell Wilson said his dad said, why not? Why not you? So why not us? Why not us?
That's right.
Yeah.
We need to bring, educate our people about these parks. These parks mean a lot.
They really do, because this is one of the few cities you're never more than 5 minutes away from a park in Seattle. Now I don't know about King County, but in Seattle, whether you're out by Carkey Park, you're on the north end, but in our area, you are never more than 5 minutes away from Seattle, from a park in Seattle.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's what. Go ahead.
I'll tell you, it has drawn my interest too with these parks is that on Friday will be 2 years of my mother, Lottie Cross's passing, and it has been. I reached out a little bit, but haven't really gotten into it. But the Spruce Street Park across the street from New Hope, right. I really would love to see that park named after my mother, because she lived. If her car went 2 destinations, we could probably go auto drive from this house to New Hope Church. And I've often and I haven't put the work in for it, but it is in my mind and my spirit to want that park to be named after my mother.
Why not?
I know.
Why not? I mean, she did a lot. And then the Spruce, I don't know who Spruce was. I mean, for the street to be named after that person and didn't have a park name, so all we have to do is just look into it. And one thing I know about the system that we live in, and I was talking to Mr. Rye about the other system, and that people are tired of democracy. So the other people in America is rooting for Putin because they're tired of democracy. But what happens is that people have to work together and have to collaborate and have to come together. And so these are good ideas. The part of we even have it doing a bus tour. I mean, that could be part of a summer program. We could take people when they, take people when they come into town, or people who live here. We could actually do a survey and say, how many parks do you think is named in Seattle after Black people? And somebody said, 3. Nobody would guess 11. Nobody. Well, unless they listen to the show. Listen to the show. Yeah, this has been so good. I mean, I like all of these. I like all of these people, all that they've done for us.
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't really know that the late George Fleming had passed away. I didn't know if you know they had a memorial for him. I mean, George Fleming's daughter, Yemi, went to school with Tunde. I mean, we did. It was one of those campy. It wasn't like a campy preschool program to teach you how to read.
Yeah.
And Tunde was in that program, and so was Yemi Flemings, and so Representative Flemings did a lot for us down in Olympia. A lot for us. He's even the reason why we got housing. I mean, some of this housing, I think he's credit for building 50,000 housing units around the state of Washington for people. So So we have to remember him, Representative Fleming, and also started the legislative day. I mean, he's the reason why we started going to Olympia down on legislative day was Representative Fleming, and that's when they didn't like us. They would call us "you people," but we still.
Let me tell you a funny story about George Fleming. I was in Louisiana.
We only got a couple minutes, so we're gonna have to go now. So our start time is up. But thank you so much. This is our team.
Thank
so,
you.
All right, thank you. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. See you next week. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.